Picture this. A lively young girl named Brittanee Drexel, with dreams in her eyes and life at her feet, suddenly goes missing during her spring break in 2009. A seemingly normal trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, takes a dark turn. Brittanee, a New Yorker at heart, was just 17 when she decided to take this trip, eager to experience the rush of spring break. Before her mysterious disappearance, Brittanee was known for her infectious energy and zest for life. She was a sports enthusiast, a soccer player, and a friend to many. Her journey to Myrtle Beach was supposed to be a break from her regular life, a chance to let loose and enjoy, but who would have thought it would turn into a never-ending nightmare? When Brittanee didn't return home, the alarm bells started ringing. Her family, friends, and law enforcement immediately sprung into action, launching an extensive search. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years, but the efforts to find Brittanee yielded no results. There were no leads, no clues, nothing that pointed to what could have happened. Despite the tireless efforts of law enforcement and her family, Brittanee seemed to have vanished into thin air. As the years passed, a name emerged from the shadows: Raymond Douglas Moody. Moody was no stranger to the law, with an extensive criminal history as a sex offender. His name first surfaced in connection with the disappearance of Brittanee Drexel in 2012. The authorities, piecing together a jigsaw puzzle of evidence, identified Moody as a person of interest. But what was his connection to Brittanee? The answer lies in a web of criminal acts that spanned years before Brittanee's disappearance. Moody's criminal record painted a chilling picture, a man who preyed on the innocent. The authorities were beginning to see the bigger picture, a potential link between Moody and Brittanee's vanishing. Fast forward to 2022, 10 years after Moody was first identified as a person of interest. In a significant development, he was arrested on an obstruction of justice charge. The arrest marked a crucial turning point in the investigation. The wheels of justice were finally beginning to turn. As the net tightened around Moody, the case took a grim turn. In a chilling revelation, 13 years after Brittanee's disappearance, her remains were finally discovered. The long search had led to Georgetown County, South Carolina, where the grim discovery was made. It was a heartbreaking moment that answered one question but spawned countless more. Raymond Moody, a man with an extensive criminal history as a sex offender, was named the prime suspect. The charges against him were severe: murder, kidnapping, first-degree criminal sexual misconduct, and obstructing justice. These charges were not made lightly, and the evidence against Moody was substantial. He had been identified as a person of interest in the case as early as 2012, and his arrest on an obstruction of justice charge came only weeks before Brittanee's remains were found. The details about Brittanee's untimely demise are horrifying. Moody is accused of killing her through manual strangulation, a fact that adds a chilling depth to the cruelty of this crime. After the brutal act, he attempted to hide his actions by burying her body, leading to the years of uncertainty and heartache that followed for Brittanee's family and friends. The discovery of Brittanee's remains brought a tragic conclusion to the search for her, but it also marked the beginning of a new chapter. The fight for justice had just begun. The evidence had been presented, the charges laid out, and the perpetrator identified. Now, it was time for the law to take its course. Brittanee's tragic end was finally brought to light, but the fight for justice was far from over. The quest to ensure that Brittanee's death was not in vain had just begun, and the world watched, hoping for justice to be served. With the discovery of Brittanee's remains, the fight for justice took center stage. The long-awaited breakthrough in the case had finally arrived, and it was time to confront the man behind the heinous act, Raymond Moody. Moody, a man with a criminal past, found himself in the eye of the storm. The charges against him were as heavy as they were horrifying: murder, kidnapping, first-degree criminal sexual misconduct, and obstructing justice. A grim list indeed that painted a chilling picture of the fate that had befallen Brittanee. In the midst of this legal whirlwind, Brittanee's parents stood strong. They were a beacon of resilience and determination, expressing gratitude for the relentless efforts of law enforcement. Their relief was palpable, their words a testament to the long and agonizing journey they had endured. They finally had closure, a small solace, but a solace nonetheless. But the fight was far from over. The battle had shifted to the courtroom, and the prosecutors were gearing up, preparing their case against Moody with a fervor fueled by the desire for justice. The stage was set for a legal showdown that would hold Moody accountable for his actions. This was not just a fight for Brittanee's justice, it was a fight for every victim who had suffered a similar fate, A fight to send a clear message to the evildoers lurking in the shadows. Justice may take time, but it never fails. As the trial continues, we remember Brittanee Drexel, a young life cut short, a mystery that took over a decade to solve.